All right, ready to measure for the stretchers, and then we'll turn them. So, I don't know the length of my stretchers until I put the legs in and measure for them. Now, I'm really close every time, and I could probably go ahead and pre-turn the stretchers and have it work out. But I don't know, I think I just like doing it this way, and it's the way I do it. So the first thing I need is a mark on the center of this leg in relationship to this leg. So you can just take your pencil and put a mark right like that and side over that leg. But I find if I take one of these rubber bands here, put it right there, then I can see the center better, because now I've got reference points on the side of it. So probably see this back one better right here the way I'm doing it. And if I come over the top, I can't see it as good that way, but you probably see it. So I can see the rubber bands and defining the side, and I'm able to mark the center much easier. So there we go. Now I can measure for the stretcher. So I've got the right stretcher over here, and I just block the corner of the rule in right there and extend it out. And I've got 13 1/4. That's shoulder to shoulder. So I need to add the tenons, and the tenons are 1 1/8" and 1 1/8", so that's 2 1/4. That's 15 1/2 for the right stretcher. And the left stretcher is 13 3/8. So 13 3/8 plus 2 1/4 equals 15 5/8. Alright, so that gives me the length of the side stretchers. Now the center stretcher is a little bit trickier. So you can do it a lot of ways. There's 1,001 ways you can do it, and but this is the way I do it. And so I do it by math because it's just much more accurate. So I measure center to center. So I'm measuring at the points that I've just marked, center to center. So that's 16 9/16. And then center to center back here, 13 11/16. Now I'm going to average those, which you add them together and divide it by 2. So 16, 9. So that gives me 29 20/16, and I'm going to make that 30 4/16 divided by 2 equals 15 2/16, or 1/8. Okay. Now, what that gives me is the center here and the center here. So I'm in the center of the bulb right now. So now the variable that you need to know is the diameter of the bulb. And my bulbs here in these side stretchers are 1 5/8". And if we're halfway there, that means that we're 13/16 into there. But I need tenons that are 1 1/8". So I need 5/16 added to this side and 5/16 added to this side to give me my 1 1/8 tenons. So that's a total of 5/8. So I got 15 1/8 plus 5/8 equals 15 6/8, which is 15 3/4. Now, because I am math deficient, I have a check, because I have messed up there before, forgot to carry something, and you know, I'm not off a 16th or an 8th. If I'm off like an inch, which makes a significant difference in putting the chair together. So if you just cross the rubber bands, this is a Dave Sawyer trick here. And now I'm going to set it on that 5/8 that I added, so I don't have to do any more math. And I'm sitting about, oh, you know, the rubber bands are hard to measure too, plus you've got this, so it's just a close measurement. Now it would be a measurement that if you wanted to, you could just use and go from. It wouldn't be as accurate, but it'll work. And so, but I'm just using it as a check. So I'm sitting right at about 15 and, 11 16, something like that, 15 3/4, that's close enough. So I know that that my math is right. So now I can go turn the stretchers. Right stretcher's 15 1/2, left stretcher's 15 5/8, and center stretcher's 15 3/4. So I'll go find some maple and be back and go to the lathe and turn these things. Alright, so got some maple here for the stretchers. Now this maple is air dried. It's at EMC, equilibrium moisture content, which means it's just been laying around the shop for quite a long time, and it's probably sitting, you know, 15%, something like that, which is just going to be perfect for the mortise. Now I'm going to have to super dry the tenons, and we'll get to that part. The ends have been waxed, and they've just been rough cut and just roughed out in diameter too. But I just checked them all and they'll all make. I don't have my math. Let me get it. Okay, got my math now. So I'm just going to measure here, and I'm going to cut them to length before I put them on the lathe. And see, that one just barely makes it, but barely is good enough. And this one's 15 5/8. And then the center stretcher, 15 3/4. Okay, let me cut these things off and then I'll come back. Alright, so I cut these off, so now I have to find the center again, and I use this little thing. You don't have to buy one, you can make you one of these pretty easy. So it's just a V, and mark it in that direction and that direction, and now I've got the new center. So I'll do that on all of them, and it'll be ready to put on the lathe. So I'm getting ready to turn the stretchers, and but you know, I've got turning videos up. They're all in the general information stuff, and so if you want to see how I turn, then you need to go back to that basic information, general information, chair making stuff that I've got up. So this is side stretcher. I'm going to first rough it down to 1 5/8 inch diameter, and with the large gouge, and then I'll take the 3/4 inch gouge and turn it to shape, and then I'll take the skew chisel and finish it off. Now I'm going to leave the tenons out here at the finished tenon is going to be 5/8, and I'm going to leave these tenons at about 11/16 to 11/16 would be fine, but 11/16 to 3/4, somewhere through there. Then I'll super dry them, and then I will chuck it back into the lathe and turn them to their final dimension just before assembly. So, but that's, you know, I'll go ahead and turn this, but I'm not going to do much talking or any about how I do it, because that's really all that you need to know. Now I'm going to wrap aluminum foil around it and put it in the kiln, and then in 48 hours I'll come back, pull it out, and we'll assemble the undercarriage.